So I think that's a really good point about what you're talking about with AutoCAD. So let's talk a little bit about your other membership program, and let's talk about what that does for people.
Okay, well, the second membership is purchase order management, and what that does is it allows our member firm to do all purchasing through Gibson Design Management. So they go all the way from pricing. They still have to do the design. We're not going to take over that for them, but they submit the pricing, or they submit the request for pricing, and we get all of the pricing. We may be contacting on 16 items. It may be 16 different vendors or showrooms that we're contacting and asking them about availability, on fabric or lead time on the sofa, getting them all of that information, and then taking that proposal, giving them the designer price. So here's the price that you would pay, and also putting together a nice proposal for them to give to their client. We actually had, we interject a nice story that we had is one of our designer members up in New York had a 16 item order that she needed to have priced, and she had to go to a client meeting on Monday, and she was actually at a conference on Thursday and Friday. So she submitted all of this to us for us to work on while she was gone, and it was ready for her when she came back on Friday night. And her words were something about she either would have had to miss the conference and not been able to learn everything that she learned there, or she would have had to reschedule the client meeting because it would have taken her, the better part of a day, if not longer, to get all of that ready. So that was ready for her to go, and she didn't have to manage anyone to do it. It was just there waiting for her.
Does she have employees?
She does. She has one, another designer who works with her, but her goal is really not to have that designer get so bogged down in the paperwork, but to start doing more revenue generating jobs.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
Really, truly. The whole idea behind this is so that you can actually make more money in your business.
Right.
And some people are a little scared of this, and I think one of the fears they may have is that lack of control. And also to make sure that you're accurate in what you're doing and that they are going to get the result that they need. So how would you answer that for someone?
Well, I definitely understand the lack of control because I am a control person also. But usually when people bring that up, I kind of put it back on them. Well, how much control do you really have right now? The great thing about what Gibson Design Management does, for example, with the purchasing, is 2 eyes look over every order. How many people do that? We also check on every order at least once a week, even if it's a 16-week lead time. And no matter how efficient you are, how many systems you have in place, I think that every designer has had that moment where the sofa was supposed to come in, and it had been 8 weeks, and you call and say, where is it? And, oh, we didn't get the COM. So we're trying to eliminate a lot of those bumps in the road and smooth things out. So it actually becomes a more controlled process, and we're trying to create as many checks and balances as possible. The same thing goes with the CAD. We have 2 people look over every drawing that goes out and making sure that fresh eyes are looking at it.
Well, I think that's all important, and I think one of the things that would be helpful for the people that might be thinking about this as a possibility for their businesses is that you come from a family where your mother's been a designer for many years.
Yes.
And so because of that, you have experience, you understand the industry. You're not just coming in as a business person who is trying to come in and give a solution.
Yes.
You actually understand what we have to go through every day.
And I've been there. Before we started Gibson Design Management, I ran the business side of my family's design firm. So, I didn't have all of the answers from the beginning, and I still don't have all of the answers, but I've been in the place where designers are. I've experienced the fact that there are only 24 hours in a day, and how you can...
It's just not fair.
I know. Yeah, how you can best utilize your time, and we've created processes and systems and utilized technologies in order to best make that time work. So I really empathize with a lot of what designers go through, because there's a lot of inefficiency in our industry. So what can we do on our end to bring more system to the chaos that ensues.
Well, I think that's really important for all of us. And if I had had somebody that would have done that for me, I probably would have had somebody a lot earlier. Because I can remember I've gone through periods where I've been by myself, I've had 7 employees, so I've had both ends of the spectrum. And the headaches of training staff and teaching them how to do all the follow-up and the expediting is very costly.
Absolutely.
And the hiring and firing. So I love your idea of having somebody who really gets the process and does it consistently over and over.
Right.
That is not where a designer should be spending their time.
No.
You
And
don't
that's
make money at that.
And that's not what your clients pay you to do. I mean, no one says, "Oh, I hired this designer because she is great at paperwork." And
God help
her
us.
drafting skills are excellent. You know, no one thinks about things like that. They hire you for your design abilities, and a lot of times, you know, because it's a good fit personality wise, and because you have those skills, and that's what you should be out doing. And it was interesting you said when you had 7 people, you probably became the manager.
I was.
Yeah, more than the designer. And people were constantly probably interrupting you with questions. And no matter how good people are, it takes a long time to get them to the place where they're not interrupting you, and they may be being billed out at $65, $70 an hour, and you bill out at $150 an hour. Your billable hours are going way down because you're just supporting them constantly, and all of a sudden you say, "I'm not making any money, and I'm not designing, and I want to be a designer, not a manager."
And that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
I hit the point of having 7 employees, and I said, this is not for me. And so I scaled back my business so that I had more of that interaction, because I was really in charge of bringing in the revenue and making sure we had happy clients. And you're right, I was spending time managing employees.
Yeah.
And that was not fun.
No.
And they don't teach you that in design school.
No, and you're not creating widgets.
No.
You know, it's something that's so specialized that there's not an economy of scale, where if you keep adding people, you'll be more efficient. It's, you know, you reach it very early with a 1 or 2 person firm often.